You wake before dawn, drag yourself through another brutal day and return to a home where your presence feels tolerated at best. Have you ever stopped to ask why? Why the crushing exhaustion feels deeper than physical fatigue? Why the loneliness persists even when sharing a bed? Consider the unthinkable. What if the person you're breaking your back to provide for is the one quietly breaking you? This isn't hyperbole, it's the silent epidemic for millions of men, buried under cultural silence because male pain isn't fashionable and female harm is unthinkable in our narrative. Philosopher Christina Hoff Sommers spent decades dissecting this imbalance. Society spotlights female victimhood while erasing male suffering. Selective empathy. Your wound is real. The constant emotional pressure, the strategic manipulation, the gnawing sense that nothing you do is ever enough. This isn't just how relationships are, it may be abuse. Most men never recognize the trap because it wears no bruises. Female abuse rarely arrives as violence. It slithers in as expectation without gratitude, criticism disguised as concern, control masked as partnership. Society sold you the myth that women are inherently nurturing and morally superior, so you never saw it coming. You might cling to your identity. I'm successful, respected at work. This can't be me. But abuse doesn't always cage you at home. Sometimes it drives you into the ground, not for shared dreams, but for control. Many abusive women don't want a partner. They want an asset, a renewable resource, a compliant workhorse to fund their comfort while diminishing your spirit. Here's the gut punch. She may not love you. She loves what you do for her. Sommers insisted gender discourse must root in reality, not ideology. Reality, some women weaponize affection. They trade fists for guilt trips, slaps for calculated silence. Society enables this, refusing to believe women harbor such darkness, but they do. Men live as modern indentured servants, believing they're honorable providers, polishing their suffering like a badge, never realizing the woman they break themselves for is dismantling them intentionally beneath a mask of sweetness. You've swallowed the poison. Women are naturally nurturing, the gentler sex. While true for many, this stereotype is the abusive woman's shield, her deadliest weapon, your own disbelief. She doesn't need to scream to dominate. She conquers through emotional engineering, eroding your confidence in subtle daily doses until your identity shrivels. If you're perpetually criticized, you're not doing enough after 60-hour weeks, belittled, you're too emotional when you express pain, or told your needs are selfish. Real men don't complain. When you ask for respect, ask, is this love or control performing as care? This isn't feedback. It's conditioning, a systematic demolition of your selfhood. As Sommers exposed, modern gender politics refuses to hold women accountable for harm. Male aggression is dissected, female manipulation is excused as anxiety or empowerment. You've witnessed it, the wife ridiculing her husband at parties, the partner withholding intimacy to enforce compliance, the woman auditing his spending while maxing joint credit cards. Society smirks, she's just feisty. No, she's abusive. Manipulative women don't lock men in basements. They drain them emotionally until they're too depleted to seek solace, especially from those who might reflect their stolen worth. They rewrite history, twist arguments, gaslight with surgical precision. Your memory's flawed, your feelings are irrational, you're impossible to love, until you're convinced obedience is your only currency for affection. Here's the trap. The kinder you are, the crueler she becomes. You're not earning loyalty, you're being trained. Trained to answer contempt with apology, to answer ice with gifts, to chase indifference. She may never strike you, but daily she annexes your time, autonomy, and dignity, labeling it normal. This is why men miss the abuse. It's woven into the fabric of their lives. The eggshells in your own home aren't stability. The dread of homecoming isn't stress. Her dismissal of your pain while demanding your labor isn't partnership. It's exploitation. If you've normalized this, you've ingested a lie. Being a good man doesn't mean carrying invisible burdens in silence. Being used isn't love. It's ownership. What you call marriage may be a predatory transaction you never consented to. Many women don't seek equals. They seek men on leashes, human ATMs funding their comfort, emotional dumping grounds absorbing their storms, full-time laborers maintaining their lifestyles, all without expectation of reciprocity. This isn't anecdote. It's a global pattern, thriving in silence. Sommers warned of a culture that shackles men to duty while exempting women from scrutiny. Female exploitation is rebranded as agency. Male anguish is fragility. The brutal truth? Sacrificing health, peace, and dreams while she sacrifices nothing means you're not in a covenant. You're in an unnegotiated contract. She commands you work harder while contributing nothing financially. She indicts you as emotionally absent while withholding touch. She declares you lazy while treating your exhaustion as weakness. The tragedy? You start believing her. You push beyond human limits, mistaking burnout for strength, depletion for devotion. But love does not drain. It replenishes. Authentic partnership nourishes both souls. If only one thrives, it's not love, it's parasitism. Remember the man you were before needing permission to breathe, before scrambling for scraps of approval, before equating peace with your own silence. This isn't marriage. It's indentured servitude. Society taught you to give, absorb, endure, so you hollow yourself out until unrecognizable. When you finally shatter, emotionally, physically, financially, she won't mourn you. She'll discard you like a blunt tool, because abusive women see men as utilities, functional until broken. They preach that love liberates, but what if yours is a cage? You're told you're cherish, but question her motives, assert a boundary. That love evaporates into punitive silence, weaponized guilt, or cold vengeance. This isn't love. It's counterinsurgency. Abusive women rarely raise fists. They raise your insecurities. They dominate through tactical affection, rewarding submission, conditional approval, withholding warmth to train behavior, and psychological warfare. If you loved me, you'd do this. You ruin everything good. Demands escalate until your existence orbits her instability. Resist, say no. You'll unmask her truth. She doesn't seek boundaries, she demands capitulation. Sommers condemned the death of moral symmetry. Men are judged by ethics, women are excused by feelings or trauma. She's not controlling, she's anxious. Not withholding, she's setting boundaries. Not cruel, she's sensitive. Yet if a man isolated his partner, monitored her spending, threatened her reputation, he'd be crucified as monstrous. Why the asymmetry? She exploits cultural scripts of female innocence, audit your existence, begging for basic, editing your words to avoid detonations, hearing your needs mocked as entitlement, finding her love conditional on your surrender. This isn't a relationship, it's an occupation. She exploits your duty, your terror of conflict, society's reflexive disbelief. As Sommers warned, when womanhood immunizes against accountability, abusive women reign with impunity. Abusers don't just steal time or money, they annihilate you. They target the autonomous, vibrant man and replace him with an anxious ghost chasing their validation, mocking your passions, dismissing your goals, needling your masculinity with calibrated contempt. Real men wouldn't feel that until self-doubt festers. They shave slivers off your self-respect until you're pliable. You become a mood detection machine, scanning her face, modulating your voice, playing diplomat, not partner. But the more you contort, the less of you remains. This isn't rough patch. It's psychological strip mining, devouring men in suits, uniforms, and work boots alike. Sommers exposed the core injustice. We stripped men of the language to name their suffering. Result? A world where men serve, women are served. Men bear guilt, women evade consequences, even for cruelty. Apologizing to keep the peace, your colonized territory. Protecting her peace while yours is ransacked, you're a subject, not a partner. The abuse hides in plain sight. She doesn't rage, she guides you. Doesn't insult, she gives constructive feedback. Doesn't imprison, she has high expectations. You comply, clinging to your identity as good man, devoted father. But when your decency is weaponized to silence you, that's oppression disguised as love. Here's the nuclear truth. She may never have loved you. Only the utility you represented. The beast of burden who worked without complaint, paid without audit, apologized without cause. This isn't dysfunction. It's cold calculus. Staying for the kids? From guilt? Or hoping she'll change? Change isn't coming, not from architects of your suffering. If you've read this far, your bones know the truth. You're not living, you're surviving. Not resting, performing, not receiving, bleeding out. Your marriage is a pyramid scheme. You invest everything, reap nothing, and face ruin if you quit. You were told this was manhood. Shatter the lie. Manhood isn't tolerating contempt, isn't auctioning your sanity for her comfort, isn't dying slowly in a gilded cage. As Sommers declared, women's moral standing must be earned, not assumed. Yet in this warped dynamic she's granted sainthood. You're prejudged as disposable. Accept this, and they'll script your epitaph. He worked hard. Rewrite your story. Reclaim your worth. Untethered from her validation, redefine love. It shouldn't demand your erasure. Ask the forbidden, why does my home feel like a battlefield? Why is wanting rest a crime? Why does my truth terrify me? These cracks in your denial will flood with light. No cavalry is coming. You must say, enough. Enough to exploitation parading as love, enough to emotional starvation, enough to giving your last breath for crumbs. You weren't born to be a resource, a shock absorber, a casualty. You were born to live. Will it cost? Absolutely. Disbelief? Solitude. Starting over in rubble. But you'll build your life, not decorate her prison. There's valor in walking away, power in naming the unspeakable, even when met with silence. Sanctity in guarding your soul, even when the world calls it betrayal. You need no grand performance to reclaim your life. Stop feeding it to someone who starves you. You are not weak, not broken, not alone. You are a man worthy of reciprocity, peace, and dignity. If no one told you, let this